Hello, cookbook fans. It is happy hour here in Seattle, Washington, although I admit 2 p.m. is a little early for even me to start drinking, so I might wait to have a sip until further in the broadcast. We are waiting for our friends on Amazon Live to join us. Today we're going to be talking about cocktail books and cocktails in general. We're going to chat about these bitters, and we're going to talk about the way I make my drinks sparkly. I'm going to pour myself a little Washington champagne from Washington sparkling wine. We can't call it champagne. We're going live on Amazon. And I'm going to show you how I make my drinks sparkly just for fun with edible glitter. And at some point, we're going to play cocktail trivia. You don't win a prize. You just have the fun of playing it because I don't have time to send you stuff. And I forgot to add one product to the screen. So maybe I can... Happy hour, TGIF, right? I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'm going to get the conversation started over on Amazon. So today I went to the library and grabbed a ton of books. Let me see if I can find this one. This is Winter Warmers. It is still winter here in Seattle. It was a delicious 48 degrees today, but it's sunny, so I was running around without a coat on because I can. 60 Cozy Cocktails for Autumn and Winter by Jassy Davis, illustrated by Sarah Ferrone. So I'm going to look through this book really quickly with you and preview it. I haven't made any cocktails out of it. Then we're going to chat a bit about bitters, and we'll see who is on and maybe try a trivia question or two before we move on to the next cocktail book. Does that sound fun? Let me know in the comments. And I would love to know if it's happy hour at your house, what cocktail did you make for yourself? Or is it beer or wine or tea or water or coffee? That's fine. That's fine. Cute little cookbook. HarperCollins is the publisher. And it came out, I think, in 2020. I can't see. 2020? It's a little hard to read some of these tiny, smaller cookbooks font when I have my ring light up in my face. Okay. It came out in 2020, and it has very simple table of contents. Introduction, the right tools for the job, all the right moves, simple syrups, name your own warming winter liqueurs, and then the recipes. Nice illustration, but let's get to the good stuff. We're here for the drinks. We don't need to know how to make simple syrups. Spiked apple punch. Okay, so these are illustrations, not photographs. That's kind of unusual. And hello to our friends who are joining us on Facebook. Thank you for watching. We're going to play cookbook trivia pretty soon if you want to stick around. This is the Falling Leaves. I almost wonder if my Facebook viewer is Wendy. And hello, Amazon Live friends. Pumpkin spiced espresso martini. Cute illustration. We're looking through Winter Warmers. Winter is almost over here in Seattle, but we have a week of rain ahead. Here's a cocktail called the San Francisco. Whoa. Here's a drink called the Smashed Pumpkin. I better get my readers on because I'm going to need them. Okay. A Bailey's latte. That sounds like a very Seattle drink. And for those of you that drink that kind of thing, do you prefer Bailey's or do you prefer Kahlua? Because there's a little bit of a difference. A sparkling cranberry punch, very festive. I like to make punch bowls still, maybe because I love vintage style entertaining, but you can make a drink once and then put a little dipper in it and people can help themselves. Here's a frozen fig daiquiri. Sounds really good. A hot ale flip. I do not want to heat up my ale and drink it. I don't know about you. A Tokyo Toddy. Now, how is that different than a hot toddy? Is it made with sake? It is made with sake. Okay. A milk and honey. Sounds good. A Japanese cocktail. Can you guess the ingredients? It's made with cognac, orgeat, and Angostura bitters. Why is it called Japanese when there's nothing obviously Japanese about it? Well, the name comes from the event it was created to celebrate Japan's first diplomatic mission to the USA in 1860. Pretty cool. Here's something called a Synar Spritz. Am I wrong? Is Synar kind of flavored with licorice? It's an Italian liqueur flavored with artichokes. Whoa, I definitely want to try that. A Rob Roy. We're still looking through Winter Warmers. And some of the people that were watching quit watching because they were so bored or they had to run and go make themselves a drink. I'm not offended. A hot buttered maple bacon bourbon. Sounds so good right now. Totally. A smoking bishop made with Seville oranges. Wow. A caribou drink. I love these illustrations. They're so cute. It's made with a medium-bodied red wine, such as a Merlot, Canadian rye whiskey, and maple syrup. A hot Aperol Spritz with white wine, apple juice, mango syrup, and Aperol. That's a little too tropical for me in winter, but maybe if you need a little tropical pick-me-up, you would like that. Tom and Jerry. Oh, here's a drink called Through the Wardrobe, and I know several people that read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in wintertime. Then they could be sipping this while they drink it. Hot peppermint patty. Sounds really good. Typical hot toddy. A mulled sloe gin. I don't think I've ever had sloe gin before, and it's spelled S-L-O-E, not like it's slowly. Hot buttered rum. Poncho de creme. A chocolate orange teeny. Sounds really fun and really festive. And something called Home Fires. Oh. And eggnog. All right. It was the Winter Warmers cocktail book. I'm going to set it down carefully because I'm going to need it again. Next up, we're going to look through Wise Cocktails. You're not going to believe what this cocktail book is. It's the Owl's Brew Guide to Crafting and Brewing Tea-Based Beverages, including a Margarita tea, that's really bad, a Speakeasy Special, a Rise and Shine, and the authors are Jenny Rips and Maria Littlefield. I'm not sure what the Owl's Brew is. Let's find out, and thank you for joining us on Facebook. Did I forget to add this to YouTube? No, we're on YouTube, and we're streaming live on Amazon Live too, so hello to all of our friends. This came out in October 2015, and I had to check it out from the library because I love the idea of putting tea in your cocktails or cocktails in your tea, and I'm drinking just plain tea right now. I'm getting ready to start happy hour. All right. Wise Cocktails. Table of Contents, Tools, Teas, and Tisanes. Or tisanes? How do you say that word? Chapter 2, The History of Tea. Chapter 3, A DIY Tea Cocktail. Chapter 4, Owl's Brew Recipes. Chapter 5, Tea Sodas and Smoothies. Dear reader, this book is written for you, the aspiring mixologist, the awesome mom, the young professional, the cool uncle, the inspired foodie, the I can't make cocktails dilettante, the college student, there are better things to drink than vodka crayons. We've had an exceptional journey and an amazing adventure, all while building a brand and mixing up fun cocktails. We hope that this book imparts some of the wonder we felt. Okay, introduction, Tea, a Love Story. There's the authors. All right, Chapter 1, Tools, Notes on Beverages, Tea Tools. I see some cocktail tools. Champagne flute. Oh, here's the guide to glassware. The home bar. Nice photography. Tea, the plant. Black tea, such as Assam, Ceylon, Darjeeling, Keemun. Green tea, Bancha, Genmaicha, gunpowder, matcha, and sencha. Whew, that was a tongue twister. White tea, oolong tea. We're looking through Wise Cocktails for those of you that just joined us. And we're putting herbs and tea and cocktails together. How to brew your hot tea, how to cold brew your iced tea. History of tea, we're going to skip that because we want to get to the cocktail part, like what is going on. Contemporary tea cocktails, making me thirsty. Thanks for joining us on Amazon Live. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you are drinking yet, TGIF, here's a recipe for a white mule. Okay, check it out. The ingredients are a teaspoon of white leaves, a quarter teaspoon of lemongrass, and then dried peach if you just have that sitting around, which I don't. Your cocktail is made from 3.5 ounces of your brewed tea base, and then 1.5 ounces of vodka. Now you're talking. A little agave nectar, ginger beer, and a fresh ginger slice. So I'm allergic to ginger, so I would not be making this one. But that is a white mule, and it's an antioxidant-loaded tea base cocktail. Here's one called a White Tea Arnold, one called the New Girl, and this cookbook is cool because the yellow thing at the top says vodka, so you know what liqueur you're going to need to put in it, or what liquor. This is a Count on Me. I love the photography on this. Beautiful. The Prohibition Classic, the Naked Arnold. This is a Cocoa Range. Cocoa Range? Cocoa Range. Okay. It's with vodka, lemongrass, orange peel, unsweetened shredded coconut, and your tea base, vodka, pineapple juice, agave nectar, and a pineapple slice. There's a berry royale, something called a chocolate arrow, a fruit sipper. It uses vanilla beans, coconut, and tea leaves. A drink called the First Kiss, made with rooibos tea, which I would think would turn it red, but it looks very yellow. It has basil in it, dried pomegranate, dried strawberries. I don't have those on hand. A brewed tea base, and then tequila and agave nectar. And the garnish is a basil leaf. I bet that smells really, really good if that's your kind of thing. Here's a tequila popper, ha ha ha. And we can see that it takes tequila up here. And dried lemon verbena, dried ginger, pinch of peppermint, and your tea base. And a splash of champagne. Here's the Cinco de Mayo, a holiday that's just a couple of months away. Well, 3. The name gives it away. This was made for the 5th of May. It's green tea leaves, yerba mate, dried peach, ground ginger. They really like ginger in this book. Your tea base, tequila, agave nectar, and a ginger slice. And we're looking through Wise Cocktails that adds tea to alcohol or vice versa. Here's a tea-based sangria called White Horse Wine, and it uses white tea leaves, chopped lemongrass. They really like lemongrass in this book. Dried peach, dried lemon peel, and then your tea base, white wine, agave nectar. Okay, a Punch East. This is called Spicy. Hot or cold, this cleansing and invigorating cocktail will awaken all of your senses. So as soon as we finish looking through this cookbook, we're going to play a little bit of cocktail trivia, and I'm going to talk about these bitters in just a minute. All right, For Whom the Bellflower Tolls is what this one is called. It has American sour cherry liqueur in it, and Tanqueray gin, and lemon oleo. It has a million ingredients. I would not be able to make that without planning ahead. And planning ahead is something, it's hard for me because I have a busy life. Recipes. A whiskey cocktail for beer lovers called the Black Amber. Is that something you would want to taste? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about that. And something called Wake Me When It's Over. The perfect nightcap. A bourbon bubbler, an owl's toddy. Jenny's Garden. Looks delicious. A gin panther. There's a drink called a right swipe. Yes, this is a Tinder reference. Cringe. So I love their sense of humor. A drink called Cha-Cha-Cha-Chai. We're in the mezcal section. Smoky margarita. Pink tomato. Wow. What makes it pink? It has Worcestershire sauce in it. I just messed up saying that. Pardon me. It's been a long day of live streaming. Let's move on from the Tea Wise Cocktails book. I'm going to start with our first tea question of the day from my tea trivia game. Now, if nobody answers this in the comments, I'm going to have to just tell you the answer, which isn't going to be very fun. And I might not know the answer. I'm going to grab a card from the history and lore section. This game is another round, 200 trivia questions for cocktail nerds. So I don't know if we have any cocktail nerds watching. So we are in the history and lore section, and the question is, which herbal liqueur was created by Carthusian monks in the 18th century and is a key ingredient in the classic Last Word cocktail? Is it A, chartreuse, B, absinthe, C, genepi, or D, Benedictine? I'll let you think about that while I grab my bitters that I wanted to talk about. So unfortunately, Amazon only has one of these bitter housewife bitters available right now. I think it's because of the pandemic supply issues, because normally you can get these on Amazon. These are orange bitters, which are not currently listed. My favorite old-fashioned aromatic bitters for cocktails. These are made in Portland, Oregon by a woman-owned company, so I love it. Their website is thebitterhousewife.com if you want to learn more about it. Here's the cardamom bitters that they do have available on Amazon right now. And basically the way bitters work, wow, that smells very medicinal, is you get your martini glass, and I actually don't have one on camera with me. That's a wine glass. You would make your old fashioned or your Manhattan or your whiskey or bourbon based cocktail in your glass. And then on the top, you would just, that's it. 2 little dashes of bitters. Any more than that, you've ruined the drink. You definitely don't really want to, I mean, some of my friends who are not drinking alcohol currently will take club soda and put 3 or 4 dashes of bitters in the club soda to flavor it. And since there isn't any alcohol, you can get away with 3 or 4 dashes. But if you had alcohol, it's too much. I'm going to taste that. Yeah, it's very bitter, but it kind of has a warm, spicy, woody flavor. Yeah, that's good. That would be good in, say, a hot beverage, like a hot tea, and just kind of add that to it if you're not drinking alcohol. The other flavor is grapefruit bitters, which I have not tried much yet. I wouldn't put that in an old-fashioned or a bourbon drink, but I might do it in a tequila cocktail or a margarita. Ooh, that would be good. I'm going to take just a little taste of that. Ooh, very sour and bitter, but in a good way. And it's very, again, there's a little bit of herbaceous woodiness to it. I really like it. So that is The Bitter Housewife, made in Portland, Oregon by a woman-owned company. Their website is thebitterhousewife.com. And I would just keep an eye on Amazon for when those come back. I wanted to show you something I'm very excited about before we answer this trivia question. I love Fever Tree Indian Premium Tonic Water, but it usually comes in these glass bottles and you only get a 4-pack and it's really expensive. So the other day I found that they're available in a little soda box. I don't have the box in front of me. Here it is. And this is just 50 calories. It's made with natural flavors, including natural quinine. And it's 5.07 ounces, so it's actually a little smaller than, say, the Seagrams that I open up and pour into my drink. I don't want to water down my gin and tonic or my vodka tonic with too much tonic, because then you can't taste the vodka or the gin. Sometimes you want to hide the flavor of the gin, then you would use 2 cans. But anyway, I was so excited to see these in little cans. They're less heavy, less breakable, very, very convenient. I'm delighted to see them available on Amazon. So we're going to finish this trivia question. Which herbal liqueur was created by Carthusian monks in the 18th century, and it's a key ingredient of the classic last word cocktail? Was it chartreuse? Hello, Jonathan. Thanks for watching. Jonathan from Texas has joined us on YouTube. Jonathan, are we looking for chartreuse, absinthe, Genepi, or Benedictine that was made by monks? I wish I had a bottle of chartreuse to hold up and show you. It's a very unusual green color and different than absinthe green. So since nobody's answering, I will just tell you, it is made by chartreuse monks, and Benedictine are also monks, and they probably make their own liqueur, but who knows? All right. So I'll get the next trivia question ready out of another round cocktail trivia book, which I need to focus back on again. And I just closed my Amazon Live app because I swiped too quickly. Thanks, Amazon Live. Oh, here's the other Bitter Housewife I wanted to show you. Okay. Oh, I thought I was going to. There's another round. All right. We already did the history and lore chapter, so category. Let me find a different category. Okay, pop culture. I hope this one isn't too hard. Pop culture. In the 2001 film Made, characters played by Vince Vaughn. Ooh, give me a second. Ooh, he's handsome. Excuse me. And Sean Diddy Combs get into a heated argument about whether the witch is an aperitif or a digestif. Which liqueur were they bickering about? Was it A, Fernet, B, Campari, C, Strega, or D, Galliano? Think about that, or let me know the answers while we continue with our little explorations. And I wanted to look for something to show you here. There's a games room cocktail deck that I didn't pull down because no one is commenting and I'd have to go look for it, but I think I see it. It's another cocktail trivia game that you can play, and I like to do virtual happy hours because not all of my friends can join me in person right now. We still have a pandemic going on, and it's the middle of a workday on a Friday. Not everyone can play with cocktails like I am right now. Okay. Next up, I actually don't have the Regency Book of Cocktails in front of me, so what should we do next? Oh, I wanted to mention this makeup because people always ask, where do you get the glitter that you're wearing on your eyes? It's Pretty Rich by Too Faced. It's a palette. You can tell which one's my favorite because it's almost gone. The pink sparkles. Thought I would bring that up. All right, moving on to the next cocktail book, The New Cocktail Hour. I grabbed this at the library today. The Essential Guide to Handcrafted Drinks by Andre Darlington and Tanaya Darlington. Let's take a peek in here. Thanks for joining us on Amazon. Drop me a note with where you're from and if it's TGIF at your house too. This came out in May 2017. Photography by Jason Varney. Running Press is the publisher. Lots of stuff going on in the table of contents. Part 1 is Who's Thirsty? Me. Part 2, heritage cocktails, such as early drinks in the Golden Age and World War I cocktails and the European invasion, the Roaring Twenties and Prohibition. Part 3, seasonal and occasional. Part 4, recipes for syrups and ginger beer and making your own cordials, blah, 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 shrubs and bitters. Part 5, tools and glassware. Part 6, how to create your own drinks. Part 7, booze glossary. Okay. I might need a drink to think about this. Let me take some of my tea before I start boozing it up. All right. It is happy hour. Let me know where you're watching from and what you might be drinking. Part 1. Who's thirsty? Drink list, anatomy of a craft cocktail. Of course, the fresher the ingredients, the better. How to host a party with 3 basic bottles. That's good info. I like that. And they are gin, bourbon, and Campari. Wow. Where's the vodka? I like vodka. Oh, well. How to plan drink portions. What to eat with what you shake. Good tips. A note on the contemporary cocktail palette and how we chose brands. Sugar has been reduced or eliminated completely when it's been feasible to do so. When we do use it, we like to use unrefined sugars or honey. Base spirits are emphasized, not just fillers. Bitter is in, thanks to artisanal bitters, like this one, Bitter Housewife. Drink portions are manageable, yes. So here's part 2, heritage cocktails, the Golden Age, info on bitters, and the first drink recipe of the book. And for those of you just joining us, we're looking through the New Cocktail Hour. I can't really call it a cookbook because we're not cooking, we're drinking. The Brandy Crusta or Crusta has citrus, caramel, and spice flavors. They say to prepare a small wine glass with a sugared rim. In a mixing glass, stir the ingredients with ice, strain into the prepared goblet, and garnish. Old Fashioned, whiskey sour, coffee cocktail. So this is a book that's not going to have pictures of every recipe, but we know what cocktails look like. This one is intriguing. It's called a sherry cobbler. Is that making anybody else thirsty besides me? It has flavors of mint, citrus, fruit, and plum, and it uses dry sherry like an Amontillado, sugar, and orange slice. Wow, nice. I don't have any sherry in the house. There's a Knickerbocker, a sherry flip, a Japanese cocktail, an Americano. Here's a Moral Suasion. Should we get to the next? Oh, and a Sazerac and a Mark Twain cocktail. And they're talking about the histories of the cocktails. The Sazerac is a little tricky because so many bars in New Orleans claim to have invented it. Vermouth tasting. Manhattan, Saratoga, Ramos Gin Fizz. Are we in the new? The Birth of the Fizz. I haven't had a gin fizz in so long. Evolution of the Martini. Who's thirsty? A Bijou. Crisp mint, juniper, and bitter herbs. It looks too medicinal for me. It's Plymouth gin, green chartreuse, sweet vermouth, preferably Dolin Blanc, and orange bitters. Okay. A bamboo drink. 6 must-try forgotten heritage cocktails, such as an East India cocktail, page 44. Clover Club. That looks delicious. This photography is amazing. Let's skip ahead, though. We're in the European invasion, the aviation, and the Tipperary cocktail. The wonders of... is it Dubonnet? I think it's Dubonnet. A Salome, a colony cocktail. Oh, we're in the Roaring Twenties. Blood and Sand. Hanky Panky, Leap Year. A page about absinthe. Have you tried absinthe? Not my favorite. The Algonquin, Champs-Élysées. 5 speakeasy drinks to make before you die. Apricot brandy. A Hotel Nacional. El Presidente, Bee's Knees. Stork Club cocktail. Ah, this is what I'm ordering at bars right now, a Boulevardier. It's not that much different than an Old Fashioned. It has bourbon, preferably Buffalo Trace or Four Roses. It has Campari, sweet vermouth, and an orange twist. A Negroni uses bitter flavors like grapefruit. So if I was going to make a Negroni, I would use the Bitter Housewife grapefruit bitters that I have that are not currently available on Amazon, unfortunately. White Lady, Between the Sheets. A Diki? I don't know what that is. Post-Prohibition, sweet and exotic. A Hi-Ho cocktail. A Remember the Maine, and they're showing it paired with a steak. Hope you enjoyed that and made you hungry. Old Hickory, Mexican Fire Wing Squad. Oh dear, that's terrible. Post-World War II era. Booze, Gimlet, Vesper, Highball, El Diablo. Literary cocktails. A Raymond Chandler. A John Steinbeck. Okay. Toronto cocktail. Tequila Sunrise is from this area. There's a Betsy Ross that uses dark cherry, vanilla, and spice. Here's a Rock and Rye. I'm going to move this bitter out of the way. A Black Russian, a Kangaroo cocktail, movie night cocktails, the Cocktail Dark Ages, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Shall we find out why they're calling them the Dark Ages? Baby boomers didn't do any favors for the American cocktail. The generation born into post-war prosperity elevated convenience over quality and inaugurated vodka drinks served in giant glassware. Well, what's wrong with that? Think of the Nixon-era cranberry coolers of the New England 1970s and fruity potions that culminated in the infamous Cosmopolitan. Well, a Rusty Nail, an Amaretto Sour, which I used to order when I lived in Washington, D.C. in the early 2000s. I thought I was so sophisticated. It's really sugary. Cranberry, modern classics like a Cosmopolitan, a Ritz cocktail, a Gin Blossom, a drink called a Penicillin, a Red Hook, Farm to Glass cocktails. Now you're talking. That looks really good. Butternut and Falernum, Juliet and Romeo, a Gin Basil Smash, seasonal and occasional cocktails. Shall we check these out? There was a drink called a French Maid, a Corpse Reviver number 2, a breakfast martini. Wow. Italian Greyhound. We're still looking through the new cocktail hour. We're going to finish up our trivia question from 10 minutes ago. A Paloma, which is what I'm ordering lately. It is reposado tequila, grapefruit juice, lime juice, simple syrup, sea salt, lime, and club soda. Cocktails for oysters. Here's something called a red snapper. Wow. A cocktail for all seasons. Introduction to Aperol. Gin and tonic has taken me a long time to like because it reminds me of Pine Sol, and I feel like I should be cleaning the house. Build your own gin and tonic bar. That's pretty. A mint julep. Of course, we serve those around the Kentucky Derby, which used to be in May but got moved to September. Am I wrong? What's happening? Because of the coronavirus. Here's a Flutterby Lassi. A brilliant pairing for tandoori chicken or other spicy dishes from the subcontinent. Here's a page on punch. Philadelphia Fish House Punch, Bourbon Sweet Tea, that sounds good. Tiki, Tropical, and Beyond. The Mai Tai, the Missionary's Downfall, Navy Grog, a drink called a Bumbo, but I want to see pictures. Orgat, Falernum, Zombie. Tiki Takeout, fun pairings for lazy dinners. Lazy dinners is practically my middle name right about now. This drink is called a Jungle Bird. I don't know where they got the garnish for that. Wow. Pineapple Leaves. Ah, that's what that is. A Dark and Stormy. A drink called a Corn and Oil. No, thank you. Swizzle. Pisco Sour. A Sky Juice is served in a coconut. Pretty cool. A Cabarini is made with cachaca. A Cur Royale I'm tempted to make with my sparkling wine that I opened up for this happy hour, but I didn't bring my Cur Royale. It's creme de cassis. I didn't bring that upstairs with me. Here's a claret cup. I'm pretty sure that uses wine. Oh, sherry. Pardon me, not claret. A New York sour. I like the sour drinks. What is your favorite cocktail? What are you going to order tonight if you go out? Or are you staying in? Cold weather warmers, holiday cocktails like a Tom and Jerry. This one's called a Smoking Bishop. Oh, my phone would ring right now. Dessert cocktails. Woo! Gentlemen, you might enjoy that photo. There you go. Bitter cocktails were sweet on, a grasshopper, an eggnog, juniper and tonic, virgin bramble, burning branch. Wow. We're getting down to the end of this cookbook, or this book. Let's give up on this one. Cocktail hour. I'm going to mute myself because I'm not sure what someone's going to say on the phone. Give me a second. Okay, we're going to go through two cookbooks really quickly in a row. They were next to each other on the shelf. Wild Cocktails and Wild Mocktails and Healthy Cocktails. So that's pretty cool. Lottie Muir is the author of both. And I think this one came out first, Wild Cocktails from the Midnight Apothecary, and this must be the sequel or her second book. But let's finish up our trivia question from another round trivia book. Pop culture in the 2001 film Made, Vince Vaughn and Sean P. Diddy Combs are getting into a heated argument about the which aperitif. Is it made with A, Fernet, B, Campari, C, Strega, or D, Galliano? I actually haven't peeked at the answer yet, and I'm guessing it's C, Strega. I've never heard of that liqueur, but Strega means which. So, am I right? Yes, C, Strega. Okay, woohoo! We'll do some more cocktail trivia when some more people tune in that are willing to chat and drop me a comment. Appreciate it. So I'm not just talking to myself all day. Okay, let's start off with the first book, Wild Cocktails. I have it. Yes, it is on the Amazon carousel. Over 100 recipes using homegrown and foraged fruits, herbs, and edible flowers. Lottie Muir came out in 2016. Ooh, pretty. The publisher is Seco Books in London and New York. Let's check out the table of contents. Chapter 1, the cocktail cabinet. Chapter 2, the pantry, the booze, growing your cocktail cabinet, foraging, basic kitchen equipment, making the cocktails, experimental mixology on a budget. Chapter 2, cocktail elements, the strong, the sweet, the bitter truth, and the acid test, and then the recipes. Pretty. Okay. Introduction. The concept of wild cocktails is about extending your cocktail cabinet outdoors using garden and foraged botanical ingredients to infuse and garnish your cocktails. Okay. Ooh, pretty pictures. How fun. That looks like a party. Loving this photography. Loving the giant font so I can read it without glasses if I need to. Here's all the things you need in the foraging. Let's get to the drinks. Woo, mixers. Growing your cocktail cabinet. I do like a little bit of gardening. Foraging equipment, making your cocktails, the stuff you need, la la la. Still beautiful photography. How to measure, how to mix. Candied rose hips. Salt or sugar rims, citrus spirals, citrus twists. Lemon foam, bacon and tea. All right, cocktail elements. There are 4 main elements that can be included in a cocktail. The strong, alcoholic spirits. The sweet, sugar or its equivalent natural sweeteners such as fresh fruit or plants. The bitter, herbs, spices, bark roots, or peel. And the acid, citrus fruit, but also occasionally milk, tree, fruit, wine, or vinegar. Infusions and macerations. Wild cherry infused rye whiskey. Yes, please. I would love to have some of that. Lavender gin, rose petal vodka. Any of that sounding good to you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. We're looking through Wild Cocktails from the Midnight Apothecary, for those of you that just joined us. Wild fennel, fig grilled bergamot. False acacia gin. I'm hoping it's false acacia because real acacia is poisonous. A Douglas fir vodka. Now, I have Douglas fir trees in my backyard, I'm pretty sure, and I don't really want to make a drink out of them. But to each his own. Scented geranium vodka. Nasturtium rum. Ooh, I miss growing nasturtiums. When I was a little girl, I would turn them upside down and pretend they were ladies at a party in ball gowns. elderflower liqueur, which I do have in the house actually, but here you're making your own using elderflower heads, castor sugar, vodka, and a lemon. Scented geranium and lavender limoncello. Ooh, wild cherry plum brandy. Ooh, yum. Rose petal syrup and how to make it. Loving the photographs. Meadowsweet syrup. I don't have any meadowsweet near me that I know of. Crabapple syrup. Info about bitters. The Bitter Truth. Wild vermouth. Beech leaf. Wow, I don't have any of those. Okay, now we're getting to the cocktails. I skipped ahead. The Clover Club. A pre-prohibition cocktail. Limoncello with strawberries and cream foam. And a lavender gin fizz. Sounds pretty good right about now. Happy Friday. Strawberry and basil gimlet. A pea teeny. Hibiscus and blackcurrant leaf mojito. Field of Dreams. Egg and peas. What? What's going on? I don't want peas in my cocktail. A tarragon and apricot cappuccini. That would be so amazing in summertime. Oh my gosh. That would be so cool. A strawberry lemony heaven. Something called Pretty in Pink. That's nice. Raspberry and scented geranium sour. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine serving that at a spring dinner party or cocktail party where your guests would just be blown away? A nasturtium Collins and a nasturtium daisy with lemon balm. Pumpkin and carrot love-in. I like this author. We're about to look through the next book of mocktails too. Bloody Rosemary and a very rum and berry. Oh, let's look and see what that is. That's beautiful. The Mighty Meadowsweet. And the alcohol they used was cognac and Grand Marnier. A wild violet sour. That would be the first thing I would want to drink or make out of this book. It looks so good. And a Gorse Collins. For those of you just joining us, we're just finishing looking through wild cocktails from the Midnight Apothecary. And next up, we're going to look through the mocktails version of this book. Wild Cherry Manhattan. Yes, please. Manhattan is my favorite cocktail, and I love cherries. Tip. The key to making the perfect Manhattan is in the mixing. You need to stir, not shake, because it needs to be clear. And you also need cracked ice to ensure the maximum surface area of ice comes into contact with the liquid. On no account use crushed ice, as that will over-dilute the drink. Okay, cracked ice and crushed ice. Let's look at one more drink, and this is gorgeous. It's called the Yarrow. That is amazing food photography. I'm very impressed. Good job. That was Wild Cocktails from the Midnight Apothecary. Let's move over to the Wild Mocktails book, shall we? The one person that's watching right now. Okay. Wild Mocktails and Healthy Cocktails. Homegrown and foraged low sugar recipes for the Midnight Apothecary. Forward by Jekka Mavikar, Lottie Muir, winner of the Fortnum and Mason Best Debut Drink Book Award in 2016. No refined sugar. Okay, good. So, this came out in August 2020. So she was a few years in between her cookbooks. Wild Mocktails and Healthy Cocktails. Homegrown and foraged low sugar recipes from the Midnight Apothecary. Beautiful food photography again. It's by Seco Books. Table of Contents. Chapter 1, The New Cocktail Cabinet. Chapter 2, Plants with Benefits. Chapter 3, Alcohol Infusions. Chapter 4, Drink or Mix. Chapter 5, Tea-Based Drinks. And Chapter 6, Cultured Drinks. Chapter 7, Mixing It Up. We'll go through really fast because if we spent too much time on the other book because it was so pretty. I'm going to get right to the recipes, but we're learning a lot about herbs and flowers and plants and pink sorrel, primrose, sweet cherry, red clover, nettle, alcohol infusions. Here comes the fun stuff. Making an infusion simply describes the process of extracting the flavor, color, vitamins, and other elements of flowers, leaves, citrus peel, and so on. Here's a wild cherry, rose, and cacao nib vodka. Yum. Here's an oaked vodka recipe with lots and lots of steps and info. Whew, too many. Fennel blossom vodka. Quince vodka. Do any of you have quince trees nearby? I do not, but I do have a lemon tree in my guest room window, soaking up the sunlight. There's a lot of complicated Agorce rum, Porcini infused Amontillado sherry. Wow. Wild homemade aquavit. Too licoricey for me. Sure enough, there's fennel. Cherry blossom and flowering currant cordial. That must taste amazing. Oh my goodness. I like eating cherry blossoms actually. Thyme and licorice syrup. No, thank you. Homemade tonic water syrup. Wow. Okay. Magnolia and cherry blossom shrub. I'm not sure what this is. Blackcurrant sage winter savory and lemon verbena tea. Sounds good. We're in the tea chapter. Iced spring tonic. So we're in the mocktails. Violet tea. Look at that color. Can you see that? Wow, that's pretty. I have violets that grow on my front lawn, and my dogs don't pee in the front lawn, so that would be safe to harvest them. Lemongrass, jasmine green tea, and sake punch. Matcha sour. And you can make it as a mocktail, or you could add gin. They recommend London Dry. Cultured drinks. Fermented drinks and foods with beneficial bacteria. Simple kombucha. Here's a milk kefir, cow's milk kefir. Fermented birch sap. And now, mixing it up, I see some lilac. Now that you've grown, foraged, bought, and or made the seasonal elixirs from previous chapters, it's time to put them together to widen your mocktail and cocktail repertoire. Okay, let's see what happens. Beet, cacao nib, and Yasson syrup mocktail. Beautiful. Is that from the cover? No, but it's beautiful. Here's a lilac and nettle mocktail. Absolutely beautiful. Here's a Douglas fir gin and bee pollen cocktail. That's getting a little too woo-woo for me personally. A wild Negroni. Toasted kumquat and amaretto sour. That sounds amazing. I would totally enjoy that. That was really cool. That's wild mocktails and healthy cocktails. Okay, next up, we're going to do another trivia question from this trivia game, although no one is playing along besides me. Amazon Live. Where is that game? Well, can't find it. Never mind. Here we go. Let's try a different category, such as, no, history and lore. I'm trying to find something good. Okay. Travel as it relates to cocktails. Okay, see if you can figure this out. Mezcal is made in 9 different regions of Mexico called denominations of origin, DO. Which DO is the newest addition to the Mezcal map? Is it A, Oaxaca, B, Durango, C, Michoacan, I don't know how to say that, or D, Puebla? Where is Mezcal made? Oaxaca, Durango, Michoacan, or Puebla? Any guesses? Nobody's answering. It is Puebla. We learned something today. Okay. Putting away the trivia for the moment, for the time being. Now, we're in between books. I'm going to talk about GQ drinks, but I think it would be fun now to demonstrate my prism powders. They are by Fancy Sprinkles, and after Fancy Sprinkles came up with these edible glitter in these cute little containers, which I'm going to show you over here somewhere. Fancy Sprinkles. There they are. A whole bunch of companies knocked them off. So I like to go with the original inventor. And basically, I learned this the hard way, put the Fancy Sprinkles in the bottom of the glass first, then pour in the drink, because if you do it the other way around, it's not as impressive. That is actually Wilton Cup. There we go. Prism powder. It is edible, but you wouldn't want to eat a ton of it. It's non-toxic. It'll come out eventually. I just wouldn't sit here and like lick it. So every time I open one of these, I get it all for myself. So have fun and laugh at me. All right, here we go. You're watching? All right, we're going to put some of the edible sprinkles in the glass. Don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you can see them in there. And now I'm pouring my sparkling wine from Washington State that I cannot call champagne because we're not in the Champagne region of France. And I add it. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the sparkling on my camera or not. I'm going to try. And I just poured it way too foamy. Cheers. Happy Friday, TGIF. These are edible glitter prism powder that I put in my glass. And it is swirling around because the sparkling wine is bubbling. And now I have a really sparkly drink. And it does not change the flavor of your sparkling wine, luckily. Yes, Mandy, I put this when I have parties, especially outside in the sunlight where it's really, really going to show. I put these in my drinks to make it prettier. But let's try a darker color. Shall I try the red? I put several of them in here. There's a hot pink. Not all of these are available on Amazon right now, so I didn't put them in the carousel. But they make several different kinds of pinks. Oh, I think if you can see the bottom of it. And then they have a red, which we used at Halloween to make like spooky, sparkly vampire drinks. And this is cool because the sparkling wine is still bubbling and it's moving all the glitter around. That's kind of a light peachy color, so not my favorite. Let's get a clean glass. I will open up, I'll open up this red one without getting it all over myself, hopefully. Here goes. I learned it's more impressive to put it in the bottom of the glass first. And it doesn't take that much, really. And you don't need to use a whole bunch, and they're kind of expensive, so you just want to use a little tap and then put the lid on carefully without spilling it all over yourself. And then we add this in here. And I wish it wouldn't foam so much. Right now the glitter's clumping on the bottom of the glass, but it'll resolve itself. I used way too much glitter, and it's stuck to the side here, so I'm just going to put more sparkling wine in. I'll take a glass down to my boyfriend. He'll have one with me. So if you had some reason to have a red, sparkly, glittery drink, it's either going to gross people out and look like weird blood, or they're going to think it's really fun and festive. And I would actually make 3 carafes of sparkly, glittery beverages in different colors if I was throwing a brunch tomorrow, which I'm not because it's going to be raining in Seattle. So look how sparkly that is. Woo! I hope my camera's doing it justice. I used way too much glitter, and you saw me just barely go tap, tap. That was too much. So next time I won't use as much, but it's not going to kill me to drink it. And in the sunlight, I should have opened my window. It's really, really pretty. So cheers. Yeah, I wouldn't know it's there, and I'm probably going to have a glittery tongue for the rest of this episode. That looks pretty. Yay. Collage parties. College? No, I'm a grandma. I don't have any college parties. My kiddo is in college, but I wouldn't be partying with him or letting him drink around me because he's not 21. So let's move on to the next cocktail book that we're going to talk about, which is the GQ Book of Drinks. It is sort of meant for gentlemen, but I'm going to enjoy looking through it anyway. I just want to put the lid back on my fancy sprinkles because one time I was doing a video and spilled them all down my front. Yeah, no college parties for me. I did go to a party school when I went to college back in the 90s. I went to San Diego State University, but I was a nerd and a studious nerd, so I didn't get invited to the parties. But that's okay. I had friends and we played D&D. It was awesome. All right. And I grew up to be a wine blogger. Who would have known? Here is the GQ Book of Drinks. I have not looked through this other than when I was at the library a little bit ago, trying to decide which books to take home to show you guys and look through with you. It is edited by Paul Henderson, photography by Romas Ford, the cocktail collection for discerning drinkers. Smarts over drinks. I always tell my kids, yes, good job. Yes, exactly, Mandy. And because I studied so much in school, I grew up to make enough money to buy good alcohol now that I'm old. Okay, wow. This is going to be a beautifully photographed cookbook, cocktail book. And you don't mind if I take the occasional sip off of this sparkling wine that I poured myself, right? Because it is happy hour. Cheers. Mandy, are you having a little drink today? It's Friday. Table of contents, they go by alcohol. So chapter 1 is gin, and then vodka, rum, tequila, whiskey, brandy, champagne. Modernist cocktails, that'll be fun. Photos. Classic cocktails and specialist spirits, alcohol-free. Let's skip that chapter. That's no fun. And glassware. Okay. Here's the gin chapter. They have a Frank Sinatra quote. Let me fix you a martini that's pure magic. And they have a Dean Martin quote that says, it may not make life's problems disappear, but it'll certainly reduce their size. Okay, I need to get to the drinks. The first drink of the book is called the Hanky Panky. Mandy says, me and my husband are going out to get a little tipsy, actually. Nice. It's Friday night. You might as well. And my boyfriend and I are meeting our friends that have kids later, but the kids are teenagers, so we'll probably have one drink at the restaurant with them and not, we can't get tipsy in front of someone's kids. The Hanky Panky, we have the history up here. It's believed to be the first truly famous cocktail to emerge from the legendary American bar at the Savoy Hotel. And right now, the Savoy Hotel has a female sommelier, which is pretty rare. She has her own book that I should have put in here. Oh, well. We're on GQ Drinks book. So it is Fernet Branca, Beefeater Gin specifically, a Punt Imes Vermouth. I would just use whatever vermouth I had, though. And a Coqui Vermouth de Torino. So I can't just run out and make this drink without going to the store. Gin Punch a la Tarrington. A Martinez. The true origin of the Martinez is murky at best. Some say it was invented in San Francisco, while others maintain it comes from the nearby town of Martinez. It's a variation of the classic martini. You serve it in a coupette or a martini glass. It involves Plymouth gin, Coqui Vermouth, and Angostura bitters. A Ramos Gin Fizz. A Pegu Club, I don't know how to say that, sorry. A 3+3 martini. Mandy says, time with the husband is always the best, especially when you have kids. Yes. Well, we're going out with someone else's kids. They unfortunately can't leave the kids at home even though they're teenagers. I love kids, though. It's fine. We'll talk about video games, I'm sure. What's the one that came out yesterday? Elden something that everyone's freaking out about in a good way. Here's a gin tea punch. And a Yeoman Warder. Don't know what that is. Now we're in the vodka chapter. I definitely drank some vodka in college. That's all I'm going to say. A Bloody Mary. A vodka espresso. And and the Cosmopolitan. That drink glass is filled inappropriately full. It's supposed to. Oh, well. I'm not a bartender. A White Russian. And a Vanilla Laika. Is that named after the Laika, the first dog in space? It is named after Laika. Mandy says, another new one that came out is Dying Light 2 and your sons are begging you. Uh-huh. And those games, dang it if they're not like, what, $50? I like playing video games myself, but I don't have time because I work. And then when I want to play the video game, the siren call of Netflix calls me. I'm like, oh, I could just sit there and be entertained for me. Here's something called a Kaparoska and the Moscow Mule. And I don't want to talk about Russia today, so I'm going to skip it. You know what I mean? Here's a vintage Vesper. That's beautiful. I love this photography. Oh, my goodness. Mandy, I'm so glad you joined me because I was sitting here talking to myself with people that are watching and not commenting. That's kind of not fun. Rum chapter. Who likes rum? There's a drink called the Painkiller. Well, a painkiller is what I need the next morning if I'm not careful. A Plantation Daiquiri. Beautiful color. Planter's Punch. Oh, I love Planter's Punch. But one time I drank too much of it when it was made with Southern Comfort, and I was very sick, and I've never had Southern Comfort again. And hydration is the key, which is why when you see me take a sip of my sparkling, glittery drink, you then see me take a sip of my water or my tea to keep the hydration going. Oh, Mandy likes to join lives with very little people to chat because I feel bad for them. Yes, thank you. I'm very, very new to Amazon Live. And so, of course, my stream with one person watching doesn't show up on the screen, although I was very surprised that one of my streams got featured the other day, probably because I was the only person blogging about cookbooks. So it showed up, so that was cool. Christmas Rum Sour. Rum and Sherry Cobbler. Yum. Hemingway Daiquiri. Shall we move into the tequila chapter? Margarita. Okay, we don't need a margarita recipe, but how about El Diablo? Like, we all know how to make margaritas. A Bloody Maria. So I'm doing pretty good with being comfortable on camera, aren't I? You just ordered the glitter. So excited. Yeah. Just be really careful because when you open it, it likes to go poof all over you, especially if you're on camera at the time. And honestly, it doesn't taste bad. No, it's pretty good. I'm going to do several more lives where we play with the glitter. Katie's going to join me on camera, and she'll have her own color. She'll probably have purple edible glitter, and she'll put it in some kind of a taller glass. And it works great with any kind of beverage. You can put it in milk. It'll kind of diffuse it and look really pretty, so you can serve it to kids. But I really chose the champagne because the bubbles really, really, really help show off what it can do. And man, if I was out in the sunlight right now, there's a little bit of sun in my office. You can really see it. It's so pretty. But most people don't want to be handed this weird toned red drink, and the glitter's now stuck to the top of the glass up here. So it's kind of messy looking, but that's okay. I don't want to spill on my library cookbook. That would be rude. Let me get a Kleenex to make sure I didn't just get my library cookbook all wet because I was chatting with Mandy. And thanks for the order. All right, here we go. We are still working our way, for those of you that just joined us on YouTube and Facebook, through GQ Drinks. We're about halfway through. I'm just going to pull out a few more. I have 4 more cocktail books before I go out to dinner tonight. This is called a Mexican Gland. A Royal Paloma. I've been ordering Palomas lately. TBC, a Tequila Bear Chaser. Wow. So Mandy, what are your favorite type of Amazon lives to watch? I personally don't watch fashion because I don't care that much about clothing. I watch some of the beauty tips and the skincare. I'm surprised there's not more book bloggers. I'm looking for them. Maybe I'll find them. Here's a sweet Manhattan. I like Manhattans. I don't need it to be sweet. A Rob Roy and a Blood and Sand. Some early cocktails. Whiskey sour. Okay. Ooh, this is pretty. It's called the Provenance. What is in that? Let's find out. A Scottish barley whiskey with a weird name I can't pronounce. Canadian ice cider. And English sparkling wine. I can't run out and buy Canadian ice cider easily, or these. I don't like cocktails that take very, very specific ingredients. Like this one. Okay, it's a Scissorac, spelled differently. It is the ingredients I've never heard of, other than Pernod absinthe. It's a Lindisfarne mead, a Somerset cider brandy, okay, apple syrup, that I can find, Peychaud's bitters I can find, and Bob Abbott's bitters. Why do you need more bitters when you already have... Who's Bob Abbott? No. I prefer drinks you can actually get a hold of the ingredients. The double stinger is Chateau de l'Aubade VSOP Armagnac and white creme de menthe and mint leaves. I can't find this alcohol, so no. This one's called Raisin and Blazin'. Mandy likes to watch skincare videos. Good to know. Personally, you go with the books because you're a book nerd. Well, great. We are going to be looking through lots of books on this channel, and if you're curious, I did a book chat the other night where I just grabbed the 10 books from my nightstand and talked about the 10 books that I'm reading. And I finish a book every day, but I'm reading like 10 at once because one's in the bathroom, one's in the kitchen, one's in the car, one's in the living room. Wherever I am, I grab it. There's hundreds of books in the office, and I really should just grab the camera and show you for a second. Very messy. I have books everywhere. But part of that is I'm a cookbook blogger. I hope you enjoyed that tour of my messy office. It'll make you feel better about yourself if your home isn't perfectly tidy. This is pretty. A Japanese Jack Rose. And a drink called the Vickers Fix. Let's keep going. This is a fog cutter, and they're getting some hilarious props to put in their food photography. Lemonade and a cherry ginger cooler will be the last drinks that we look at. For those of you that just joined us, we're looking through GQ Drinks, but we just finished. And I'm going to take, speaking of drinks, I'm going to take a drink of mine. So since I have a willing victim here, I'm going to pull out another cocktail trivia question from my another round game. Your house is a disaster. You can't keep it clean. It's even harder in the pandemic with everyone spending more time at home than we have been, right? There's more people in my house to mess it up. And I'm looking for my stupid game book. There it is. Another round. Okay. We did the travel category. We did the history and lore. We did pop culture. There's one more category I'm trying to find in this box of messy cards that I didn't have ready for us. Where is the other category? Travel, history and lore, pop culture. I guess we'll have to do pop culture again because I split up this box with Katie so she can play with me. Next time we do happy hour, she'll have half of it at her house. Katie is my co-host here at Cookbook Divas. Okay. Pop culture. Both Thin Lizzy and Metallica covered this famed Irish drinking song with a boozy name. Was it Whiskey You're the Devil, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer? Was it Jug of Punch, or was it Whiskey in the Jar? Metallica and Thin Lizzy covered this Irish drinking song. A, Whiskey You're the Devil. B, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. C, Jug of Punch. Or D, Whiskey in the Jar. And I'll wait for somebody to answer that. Mandy's happy to hear she's not the only one with a messy house. I have a sanitary house. We wash the sheets every 5 or 6 days. We mop the bathroom floor weekly. We clean the counters every day. We vacuum daily because I have 2 dirty dogs. But it's sanitary, but there's a little clutter, especially in my office because I can close the door to the office. But we like to keep the bedroom tidy because we can't sleep if it's messy. So the next book I wanted to look through is Drink French. Whiskey in the Jar. You're right, Mandy. We have a trivia winner, Whiskey in the Jar. Thank you for playing. Okay. Yeah, behind me, I have a backdrop that looks like a kitchen, but I'm going to move where it is because right now it looks like candy jars are growing out of my head. My actual kitchen is brown and dark, so I don't film in there. So I just film in my office with a backdrop because you don't really want to see my yellow office walls. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking for how to drink French in my little list here in the Amazon carousel. There it is, $16.89. Okay. It's a guide to joie de vivre with Saint Germain cocktails. And I do have a little bottle of Saint Germain in the house, and I haven't known how to use it. So when I saw this at the library, I was like, hello, have to get it. So the spirit of joie de vivre permeates French life, making any gathering a convivial celebration. How to drink French fluently. Oh, I didn't notice the other part of the title. How to drink French fluently helps you bring the sensibility to brunches, afternoons, happy hours, and beyond, with more than 30 cocktail recipes featuring Saint Germain, the captivating French elderflower liqueur, beloved by bartenders for its ability to add that je ne sais quoi to any drink. Okay. It has contributions from some of America's best mixologists, and we're off to a good start with a pretty photo. Drew Lazor is the author, with contributions by Camille Ralph Vidal. 10 Speed Press is the publisher. I love their cookbooks. They're such a good publisher. Table of contents. Brunch, daytime, aperitif, dinner, and nightcap. Index of cocktails. That's handy. I love throwing brunches. Here in Seattle, it's going to be a while before I can throw an outdoors one because it's about to rain. But now, because of the pandemic, my friends are really good at bundling up and dressing warm and coming out if it's not raining. If it's sunny, we'll have parties in my backyard all day long. We'll just light a bunch of bonfires. Brunch chapter. This is going to be my favorite. There's a page called The Brunch Life. Nice. Brunch is nothing short of an institution in the United States, it says. The Brunch Life. Oh, yeah. First cocktail of the book, The East of Eden. I've never really understood the Bloody Mary with brunch, states Jeffrey Morgenthaler. It's so heavy. A more delicate alternative is the East of Eden, which combines gin, lemon juice, elderflower liqueur, and an inventive Gewürztraminer syrup, which I do not have time to make, but there's a recipe for it in the book. And you can add an egg white if you'd like, and you garnish with a lemon peel. A Senorita Spritz looks amazing. I'm going to guess it's tequila, and I am going to be completely wrong because it's sherry, London dry gin, and Saint Germain. Well, excuse me. Rules of the Brunch Drink. Give the people what they want. I like this book. This is cracking me up. The most persistent brunch cocktail categories are popular for a reason. They work. There's certainly room for creativity on the service side of the brunch bar, but working within the parameters of classic brunch drinks is a wise move. No one wants to get into experimental drinks in the middle of the day, says Javier Herret of New York's Wallflower. Brunch drinking equals session drinking. The leisurely pace of brunch usually means multiple rounds are in order. Put refreshment first. Daytime cocktails can certainly pack a kick, but their blow should be tempered with versatile tools, fresh and seasoned fruit and bubbles. Okay. And don't expect a cure. It makes sense that many brunch enthusiasts are in the market for liquid relief. Don't get too wrapped up in this. Okay. My favorite drink, Mandy, is it's either a Manhattan or an Old Fashioned. The Manhattan has a cherry in it. The Old Fashioned has the orange. So probably the Manhattan. With bourbon, because rye is too spicy for me. Pretty brunch photo. This drink is called the Tiger Beat. Is anybody here old enough to have read Tiger Beat magazine when you were like in your teenage years? And the boys in Tiger Beat were really cute. So I'd read the pages and be like, oh, I wish I could meet them. Oh, that was embarrassing. Tiger Beat is made with bison grass vodka, which I've never heard of. So I would just use vodka, Saint Germain, Lele Blanc, and lemon juice. That sounds refreshing. This is called a Grievous Angel. It's made with bourbon, Saint Germain, strawberry syrup, lemon juice, Peychaud's bitters, and a few dashes of Angostura bitters. I don't have Angostura bitters in the house, so I might use my orange bitters from the Bitter Housewife, a woman-owned business in Portland, Oregon. This orange bitters is not currently available on Amazon. They're sold out. They just have the cardamom bitters. Your mom loved it too. Nice. Your mom and I have the same taste in Manhattans. Daytime, the day drinker's palate. And then we're going to go into the Jazz Age lawn party. Here's a San Poncho. Made with sherry, London dry gin, Saint Germain strawberry syrup, lemon juice, and soda water. Very refreshing looking. Wow. A Surf City Spritz. And my voice is getting a little harsh, so I need to have one of my little drinks here. Okay. Not a fan of drinking on camera, but I have to get used to it if I'm going to be demonstrating edible glitters. How about, this is called 4 Rex. It looks so good. It pays tribute to the cocktail inventor's home city of New Orleans and for anise flavored spirits. That means licorice. That means I'm out. Can't stand it. This one's called a nudie beach. This one's called Dahora or Dahora, Saint Germain, Kachaka, lemon juice, grapefruit juice, and kava. I don't have kava in the house, and I don't have kachaka in the house because we drink it all. So I need to go shopping. Next up, the low-proof cocktail movement does not sound like fun to me, but it's important for people that's important too. Look how pretty this is with violets in it, the Lisette. Let's read about that one. The Lisette is a 3-ingredient cocktail as relevant for the home bartender as it is for the pro. The less time you spend making drinks, the more time you have to enjoy good company. It is Gentian liqueur, which I don't have on hand, lager, and Saint Germain. It's pretty. We're here because we love alcohol. Yes, yay! That means we can be friends. A scented stretch. Rules of an aperitif cocktail. Get low. Don't sweat the details. Get outside, and sharing is caring. Get outside. I'd like to. It's sunny. Alfresco Spritz. Made with Saint Germain, Martini and Rossi, London dry gin. I guess I don't have any London dry gin in the house because I always buy Bombay. Maybe I should try some. This is a twist on, that's so colorful. A twist on a twist. Saint Germain, Aperol, as you can tell by the color. Is it Aperol or Aperol? I think it's Aperol. Lemon juice, a pinch of Himalayan pink salt, if you have that in the house. I do. And you top it with Prosecco. I would just top it with this if I had any left, which I won't at the end of tonight. Aperitif hour in America. The Shining Path. Saint Germain, lemon juice, lemon cordial, Gentian liqueur, and more Gentian liqueur. No, thank you. That's too many. Here's one called the Gentleman Collar. London dry gin, sherry, Saint Germain, and Aperol. That looks so good. I know, right? Here is the iconic Saint Germain cocktail. Love their photography. A classic spritz variation fueled by the iconic elderflower liqueur. The cocktail embodies the spirit of low alcohol conviviality prevalent throughout Europe. That way you can have more of them. Yeah. Light, floral, and refreshing. Saint Germain, dry sparkling wine, such as the one I have open here from Washington State. You can't buy it on Amazon, so I'm not going to talk about it. And soda water. Aperitif at home. And now dinner, and we'll finish looking through this book and move on to the next one. I have 3 books left to look through before I leave for dinner. Culinary cocktails, mise en place, and pairing cocktails with food. Okay. Pretty. Now see, if that was glitter, it would be going right into the glass and looking glittery. You can put this edible glitter in your cocktails, and that would really make a vodka tonic look way more fun, right? If you just threw some of the glitter in it. That'd be awesome. This is called a Voodoo Down. Orange bitters, turbinado sugar, honey water, lemon juice, Saint Germain, Trinidadian rum specifically. Just put any kind of rum that you have. And bourbon. I don't like to mix rum and bourbon, but I guess it wouldn't kill you. Okay. This is called a Keystone Highball. My camera's having trouble focusing because I flipped the page too fast. Whoa, wait till you see this beautiful picture. I would totally put glitter in this. It's called the Smoked Tomato. I don't like smoky flavors, but wow. Lemon juice, agave syrup, Santa Rosa plums, which I don't have access to here in Seattle, anise hyssop leaves, and smoked tomato infused Saint Germain, and they give you the recipe for how to make that. Wow, no, too much work. The Hudson Glacier. Pretty. Nightcap. Anatomy of a nightcap, building a nightcap bar. Wow. Pretty. This one's called Sailin' On, and it's Saint Germain, Galliano Ristretto, and Fernet Branca. These people must think we own a liquor store because all the unusual ingredients. I love the name of this drink, Turn Down Service. This will be the last drink I look through in this book. It's 2 ounces of peated scotch. Ugh, excuse me. A scant ½ ounce of Saint Germain and a tawny port. I do have a tawny port in the house, but I prefer ruby port. That was interesting. How to drink French fluently. All right, let me move on to the next book, which is a library book, so I have to be careful. Oh, it's tiny. It's 3 ingredient cocktails, an opinionated guide to the most enduring drinks in the cocktail canon by Robert Simonson. 10-Speed Press. I love their books. This came out in 2018. It says, for any imbiber who's tired of overly complicated recipes with esoteric ingredients, like the cookbook the book we just looked through, 3 ingredient cocktails has the answer. 60 of the most delicious and elegantly simple drinks of all time. Dip into this collection of triumphal triptych cocktails and you're sure to find a new favorite. Okay. Ooh, a little bit retro there. Photographs by Colin Price. So far, so good. Old Fashioned Cocktails is the first chapter. Improved Cocktails is the second. Then Sours, then Highballs, then Other Cocktails. Okay. Wow, they get right into it, listing the drinks right up front so you can look for them. Introduction. Peggy Olson on Mad Men says, you need 3 ingredients for a cocktail. Vodka and Mountain Dew is an emergency. 3, it's a magic number. We see in 3 dimensions. 3 strikes, you're out. 3-pointers are the highlight of any basketball game. Baby makes 3. Reading, writing, and arithmetic makes an education. The triangle is the most stable of shapes, so it comes as no surprise that the 3-ingredient cocktail is the most sturdy and lasting of cocktail constructions. Pretty, like the photography. Let's get to the drinks. Old-fashioned cocktails. By the reasoning of this book, the term old-fashioned cocktail means drinks that adhere to the original definition of a cocktail as a simple libation that includes spirit, sugar, and bitters. And yes, that definition does include the old-fashioned. So they start off the book with one of my 2 favorite drinks, the old-fashioned whiskey cocktail. They make theirs with bourbon or rye. I make mine with bourbon. 2 dashes of Angostura bitters and 1 sugar cube. And a twist of orange. Now here's the Trinidad Old Fashioned, and the difference is they use plantation Trinidad Old Reserve rum instead of bourbon or rye. And cider syrup, and a specific St. Elizabeth's allspice dram. An Eau Claire Old Fashioned. Now we're already in the improved cocktails chapter. Martini. Not my favorite. It's a little too strong for me. I'm not trying to get drunk. I'm trying to taste some delicious alcohol, and that doesn't work. This is called the Obituary Cocktail. Basically a martini made exotic by a splash of absinthe. If this ends up being your deathbed drink, you didn't do too badly. It's made with dry vermouth, absinthe, and 2 ounces of gin. Here's the Vesper. We're all familiar with that. Ian Fleming. A Japanese cocktail. I'm going to skip ahead. A Chrysanthemum. Manhattan, my other favorite drink. There it is with a cherry. Yum! Something called a Red Hook. A Rob Roy classic. Scotch, sweet vermouth, and Angostura bitters. A Revolver, invented in 2004 with Bullet Bourbon. This is called a Fair Harvard. An Old Gal. Remember the Alimony. That's a great drink name. Oh, a Cosmonaut. Ooh. Nice. Related to the Cosmopolitan, but gin, lemon juice, and a bar spoonful of raspberry preserves that you stir in. Whiskey sour. I used to like those. Daiquiri. I used to think daiquiris had to be these big, crazy, icy drinks, but no. There's a tea punch. Sidecar. That is my best friend's favorite cocktail. When we go out, she gets that. It is cognac, Cointreau, and lemon juice. I never knew what was in that. I'm going to take a little sip of my sparkly drink. Oh, can you? Dang. The sun is shining on my sparkly drink, and I'd like to show you. No, it's not going to get in the sunshine. Oh, well. I'll just have to sip it. Too bad. Sucks to be me. So we were looking through 3-ingredient cocktails before I started drinking again. Champagne cocktail. Champagne on top. 3 to 4 dashes of Angostura bitters. And a sugar cube and a lemon twist. And that's it. And the bubbles go up pretty. This would be a great drink to use the edible glitter in. That's all I can say. Brandy Alexander. Is that named after who I think it is? I don't know. All right. 3-ingredient cocktails. Much, much easier than the GQ cocktail book. We have 2 cocktail books left. The other one is, I was going to look through another 3-ingredient cocktail book, but I didn't pull it out in time. Never mind. Bar Chef. Okay. I do not know anything about this cookbook. I'm really trying to show you. I've got to move my camera because right now in the sunshine, my drink is just shining. Oh, I don't think it's going to show. Nope, my camera got too blurry, and now my camera is really PO'd at me for moving it, and it's going to be blurry. Okay. Christian Rolich, or Rolich, I've never heard his name said, and Carolyn Carreño, the Bar Chef handcrafted cocktails. I picked this up because it looked really, really intriguing, and I love the idea of handcrafted cocktails. Came out in 2019. Ooh, off to a pretty start. W. Norton and Company is the publisher, but I just stumbled over. 2019. Table of contents. Mixing from this book. Vodka, stocking your bar, gin and Genever. What's that? Rum, tequila and mezcal, whiskey, brandy, Bar Chef essentials. Okay. My name is Christian Rolich, or Rolich, and this is my book of cocktails. I've been mixing up cocktails and serving a wide variety of crowds in Los Angeles for the last 20 years, he writes. For the last decade, I've worked where I do now with the Luke's family of restaurants in Los Angeles, one of the most acclaimed restaurant groups in the country, etc. Okay. Ooh, look at all those lemons. Mixing from this book. Recipes, garnishes. I love the photography. It's making me thirsty. Okay. Vodka chapter. I don't need my glasses to read the chapters labels in this book. Okay. He's writing more about how he uses vodka and mixes drinks and creates them. Whew! Finally, we see a recipe. The Green Goddess. Looks amazing. It's a Tom Collins glass. To prep, you need a Persian cucumber, a jalapeno with the seeds removed. Then you need green tea vodka from page 50, fresh lemon juice, arugula simple syrup from page 50, fresh cucumber juice, a drop of jalapeno juice, plus more to taste. For the garnish, an absinthe rinse, 3 thin cucumber slices, and a fresh mint sprig. Wow. Here's a Californication drink. Let me look for some really good ones. Ooh, a 3-2-3. It's Buddha's Hand vodka and kumquat with ginger and jalapeno. This is a very modern cocktail book for sure. Here's the gin chapter. A caterpillar, a companion, a cat's paw. This is a compound gin and soothes with Benedictine and orange bitters. A spring Negroni. A Brixton sour with Peychaud's bitters with gin and orgeat and egg white. I don't have time to make egg white drinks. Christian's G&T. Wow, that's fancy. I would order the heck out of that if I saw someone in a bar drinking that. Wow. Let's see. A Charles E. Hires Jamaican rum and root beer with lemon and Aperol. Sounds gross. That's not for me. But I appreciate seeing the recipe. That's different. A pistachio colada. Wow. I wonder what they rimmed that with. Don't know. It says, it doesn't say. Oh, to prepare the glass. Lime, pistachio, sugar mixture. Oh, okay. Tequila chapter. Who here likes tequila? Beaumont. Fire and smoke. That would be too smoky for me, personally. I need my cocktail a little bit sweeter. A Molokai. I'm guessing Hawaiian. Tequila and pineapple with blood orange and bitters. Wow, yum. Whiskey chapter, just to give you an overview of this book. A Cardoon. Rye whiskey and Synar, which is artichoke flavored liqueur with ginger and amber ale. I'm out. I'm allergic to ginger, but you might like it. How about a Kingbird? Bourbon and maple with cassia bark, sassafras, and chicory. Wow, that must taste very spicy or flavorful. Here's a Lee Enfield, a rye whiskey and walnut with lemon and pale ale. And that's not egg white on top like I thought it was. Wow, okay. A Thunderer. I love the names of some of these. Now we're in the brandy chapter before I finish looking at this cookbook. A Mercantile. Pisco and Thompson grape with Benedictine and pecan. That's a little complicated for me. Bar essentials. All right, we're done. That was fascinating. Definitely the most creative cocktails I've seen in a cocktail book in a long time. Bar chef, handcrafted cocktails. Our last book of the day. Hey, camera, you can focus on this. How to Cocktail. Come on, camera. I grabbed it because it's America's Test Kitchen, and a lot of people here at Cookbook Divas love America's Test Kitchen books, so I got it. Recipes and techniques for building the best drinks. Okay. Came out in 2019 in October, just in time for the holidays. Chapters are built, stirred, shaken, muddled, blended, big batch, my favorite chapter, syrups, shrubs, bitters, and garnishes, homemade liqueurs and vermouths, and snacks. Welcome to America's Test Kitchen, etc. Let's jump ahead to the drinks part. Message in a bottle, mix it up, la la la. Glass essentials. Every cocktail book has that. We know what kind of glasses to use for our drinks. Here's a Lillet tonique. Looks very refreshing. Lillet Blanc, tonic, syrup, seltzer, and lemon slice. A Moscow Mule. No one today needs a recipe for a Moscow Mule, right? But, okay. A Dark and Stormy, one of the classics. An Aperol Spritz, which all the brunch restaurants around me here in Seattle or nearby are serving tons of Aperol Spritzes. Something about the orange color, we just want it. Irish coffee. Gin Martini, Manhattan. That's not my favorite picture of a Manhattan ever, but okay. This is called a Fancy Free. What makes it that color? It's rye, maraschino liqueur, citrus bitters, and a strip of orange peel. Sounds good. A Sazerac. This is hitting all the classics. A Fireside. Is that whiskey? Pumpkin pie spice rim sugar that you make on page 218. Orange wedge, brandy or cognac, spice syrup, citrus bitters, and an apple slice. Okay. A Vesper. Every cocktail book we've looked through today had a Vesper, didn't it? A Sidecar. That one looks more citrusy than the last book. Mastering the Boston Shaker. Using the glass. I've tried to master it. I failed. I made a mess, but I drank it. It's fine. A Scorpion Cup. Now we're getting into the tiki drinks here a little bit. A Seaport Sling. A Whiskey Sour. Ramos Gin Fizz. I don't know the history of that one. A Fernet, or is it Fernet? Fernet? I don't know. I've never drank that. An Aviation. I like the Aviation cocktail. London Dry Gin, lemon juice, creme de violette, maraschino liqueur, simple syrup, and cocktail cherries. A Tumbleweed. I've never heard of this one. It's smoky chili rim sugar, a lime wedge optional if you're using sugar, guava nectar, that's where we get this color, blanco or reposado tequila, dark chili liqueur, lime juice, and simple syrup. That's a cool name. Espresso martini, nothing groundbreaking there. A celery gimlet. No, thank you. I'm not putting vegetables in my juice. Okay, in my cocktail. This one's called Tongue Tied, spelled Thiai. Now we're in the blended drinks. Here's a bourbon cherry slush. Yes, please. I would love to drink that. That might be the first thing I would make out of this book today. Nice. Pina coladas. A Florentine freeze. Yum. A peach strawberry frosé. On a 95-degree day, that would be amazing. Horchata borracha. Chocolate amaretto milkshakes. Yes, please. Bloody Marys for a crowd. We're in the pitcher, big drinks for parties. Classic sangria. Big batch boulevardiers. Yes, you can feed more people that way. Pim's cups. House punch. Eggnog. Grenadine. Make your own. Now just buy it. Shrub syrups. Rim salts. I'm not making any of that stuff. I would buy it. But it's nice that they put that in the book for people that are more adventurous than me. So that is How to Cocktail. So to sum up today, we looked at a bunch of cocktail books. We talked about my cute little pink glasses from Foster Grant. At the end here, cocktail books. We talked about Fever Tree tonic that now comes in little cans. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. We talked about the Bitter Housewife bitters, although Amazon barely has any of the different flavors, and the one they have is way too expensive compared to the other Bitter Housewives on Amazon. Why is one $16 and one's $27? I would go for the $16 one. I forgot to grab the Regency book of cocktails. I have it next to me somewhere. Games room, and we played trivia from another round, and the only person that played with me was Mandy, so thank you for that. And then we played with these edible glitter that we put in our sparkling wine or champagne or our vodka tonics. It's by Fancy Sprinkles. They come in so many different colors. Light pink, red, that's a softer pink, and hot pink. Oh, and this is that silver? I think that's a silvery one. So lots of options. They make your drink look fun and sparkly. And thank you so much for watching. Follow Cookbook Divas on Amazon Live for more book look-throughs, especially cookbooks. We're going to start doing some children's books too. And we're going to start tasting food on camera and chatting about the interesting things you can buy on Amazon to eat and make gourmet meals with your cookbooks. Thanks for watching.